Welcome to the Gleeful Meeple, a podcast all about board games where strategy meets laughter and marbles ain't just for shooting anymore. In this episode, the crew is back from GenCon, and boy, do we have some stories to tell. We make marbles go boom! In this week's game of the show, Potion Explosion. And you, the Gleeples, get to play along as the hosts get put in the hot seat with this week's game challenge. So get your ingredients together, mix those potions, and don't be shy about asking the professor for some help, because while those potions might not taste that great, the more you make, the more you score. Hey, fellow con nerds.
Oh my God. Hello, James.
What day is it?
How are you guys?
I'm good. Hey, guys, this is James.
This is Emily.
This is Dwayne.
This is JK, and I am exhausted from GenCon.
Oh, are you?
All
JK?
that reading, huh?
Yes, yeah. I looked at so many pictures and captions and things, and maybe even slipped into a slight dark and nearly suicidal depression. But I'm great now. Things are wonderful.
We might have been sharing a lot of our exploits along the way with our friend group, and man, were there some exploits?
Wow. Yeah.
We have a lot to go into today.
Hey, before we get into that, have you guys seen Deadpool Wolverine yet?
I have not.
I want to.
Yes.
You have, Dwayne?
Oh, sure.
Oh
sure.
my God. James, Emily, catch up. It's so
got
good.
Yeah. I've watched some reviews, which makes me want to go see it.
Yeah.
But I've not seen it.
Have you avoided spoilers on it?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done.
I know there's tons of like cameos and things, but that's all that I know.
The algorithm seems to know when I haven't seen something.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah. And I don't know. I've been at GenCon all weekend, and then I was sick when I got immediately sick when I got back from GenCon.
Concrud.
Yeah. And so the algorithm was like tailored to a lot of board game content, and then like process videos. Do you ever get that where like it's just I'm watching someone make a soap bar or someone power washing something? So
I'm getting a lot of candy videos, like them making the hard candies lately.
Yes.
I don't know where those are coming from. I wish my algorithm would learn about spoilers, because I swear Facebook woke me up to let me know David Tennant had come back to Doctor Who, and I could not have been more upset to just find that out on our post. Like, I wanted to be there for that.
And Dwayne, you and I haven't talked since you went away to GenCon, and I know this happened while you were at GenCon. Did you back DC United?
I did not back DC United.
How did you hold yourself back?
So the thing is, I love Marvel. Like, I have always loved Marvel. Spider-Man, X-Men Excalibur were my big favorites growing up. DC was something I read if I saw an issue that looked cool, but those heroes just never spoke to me the way the Marvel Universe crew did. So I had to consider, like, do I really want to spend $400 or $500 to be a completionist on this game that I still have sealed boxes for? And the answer to that in the long run was no.
JK, did you want to be a completionist on this game?
I absolutely was.
Fair enough.
Despite my claims that this was going to be the year that I spent a little less on board games for various circumstances, I did the all-in. The only thing I didn't get out of this Kickstarter was there was an art book that gave you guidelines on how to best paint the minifigures, which I have not painted a single Marvel minifigure yet, so I know I'm probably decades away from getting to the skill level of wanting to do that. I passed on that, but I got everything else. The campaign was weird. They rolled out some odd choices for superheroes and also left some ones that probably should have been there, outside of the game. So I'm sure we're going to see a volume 2 at some point. But I was highly particularly annoyed that we had not seen Hal Jordan Green Lantern through the entire promotion. He was in the last expansion they came out with and kind of wrapped up there with the big package deal. So
They kind of nightcrawlered him.
They did. Yeah. So it was worthwhile. There's still some, like, they added in Arm Fall Off Boy, who is a failed member of the Legion of Superheroes, but added no other members of the Legion of Superheroes. So There's some weird choices.
Now, we did talk about this for a moment before everything was coming to an end, and you had said they've got Condiment King in there, which I think is delightful.
Yeah.
Condiment King is one of my favorite obscure Batman villains.
Yep.
So I was kind of pleasantly surprised that he was in there.
Yeah, he was one of the ones that showed up early in the campaign prior to Green Lantern. I'm like, you got to be effing kidding me. We don't have Green Lantern, but we get Condiment King. You got
And arm fall off boy.
arm fall off boy. Anyway, yeah, I'll have the whole thing so you guys can play my version.
Yes,
All right.
yeah, I would definitely be down to try it just to check out the new heroes and villains. Okay.
Well, my little quick note, if we're talking about crowdfunding and wins and losses, I would say my win of the week is not backing Luthier.
Oh, man.
It's
I
the
was
next
watching
game
it too.
from the Distilled publishers, which that was their first game. Huge hit.
You didn't back it?
I did not.
And you call that a win?
I do because I held restraint, JK.
I was about to say this
I'm
is
doing
rare
good.
for our.
I'm doing good
our
this
team.
year so far. I held back because I was like, I looked at all my other Euros staring at me back on my shelf of opportunity, and they were crying, saying, "Play me,
Please, Papa, no more games. Play me instead.
So I was able not to.
Okay.
But that might get replaced. We were at Gen Con, and there was some persuasion going on at one of the booths for a crowdfunding campaign that is still open for backing after the fact. That might be related to Elder Scrolls.
Oh my God, that game. Yeah, we'll probably be revisiting that later.
So, but before we do, guess what, guys?
Do you have a
Do you have a riddle?
I have a riddle.
Yay.
Let's go.
A haiku specifically.
Oh.
Oh, the harder ones.
Dank and dark. And art, in fact.
What? Dank and dark. An art, in fact. Shh.
Okay,
You've all played this game.
based on the artifact thing, I'm gonna venture a guess and say ink and gold.
No.
Okay.
Lords of Arnak.
Is that a game?
Lost Ruins of
Lost
Arnak.
Ruins.
Yes. No.
No.
You were on the right track, though, Dwayne.
Okay.
Dank and dark. And art, in fact.
Oh, Clang?
Yeah, Emily got
Wow,
it.
well done, Emily.
Go into the depths.
Okay.
I get it now.
The shush helped, actually.
You got the artifact, though.
How
That
many,
was good,
how many
Dwayne.
syllables are in shh?
Yeah, what
Five.
haiku
Just say
pattern
five.
are
Just say
you
five,
using?
James. You're fine.
Don't judge me. Inspired by Gen Con. Ish. It was we'll talk about it later. New expansion released. So I was trying to connect it to Gen Con somehow.
Okay.
But way to go, Emily.
Thank you.
You did what Dwayne could not last week.
So sad.
Sad.
All right, guys. So I didn't get to go to Gen Con. Well, by choice.
It really was a bummer that you weren't there, JK.
Yeah.
We missed you.
Hey, my name tag was there.
Your
Your
presence
name
was
tag
missed.
did make it
Yeah.
to Indianapolis.
We had
That
some,
is
we had
weird.
some fun with that fact. And
Your name tag was there, and your card was almost charged.
Yeah, that was great.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the couch relaxing, and I'm like, "Do you really want to go to this event?" I'm like, "Yes, I do."
oh God, no! Please no, no. We've already overpaid for this enough.
So I got questions. I want to know some things. I've actually gone like days without talking to you guys about Gen Con specifically, so I can save up these moments for broadcasts. So here we go. Hey, question number one.
Okay.
I know on our lead into Gen Con episode, we talked about housing and we talked about the variety of ways you could stay at Gen Con. I think James got into the hotel block, and I know Dwayne and Emily both were involved in two different Airbnbs. We had one that was gender leaning towards guys, one that was gender leaning towards women. How'd all that work out for you guys?
Well, from the guy's point of view, the guy's B&B was fantastic. Emily, how was your experience?
Girl B&B had some issues.
What happened?
Okay, so we hit the road. We're all excited. We had decorated my car. We had posted to Instagram. Spirits are high. We get into Indianapolis, and Dwayne is in my car. And so we're like, okay, how is this evening going to work? We had spent more time in our Louisville rest stop than I had thought we were going to do.
Indy, 4.5 hours from Nashville. Our run time, 8 hours.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes, we spent a lot of time not getting to
Indianapolis. Yeah.
It was still fun. So anyway, we're like, okay, how about this? Let's just drive Dwayne to the boy B&B. We'll get to the convention, pick up our tickets for those of us that had to go to Will Call. And let's just take it from there. We're hungry. We all were excited. Let's go get dinner. I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'll check into my Airbnb afterwards. It should be no problem. Cut to, it is well past sunset. We get to our Airbnb. The screen doors are dead bolted. And this is supposed to be a self-check-in Airbnb where like the access code, you enter it on the door pad, which was behind the screen door.
Oh.
Yes. So we could not access our Airbnb. It's getting pretty close to midnight, and it's not the best side of town. So I was with two of my friends, and I was like, okay, let's get back to the car. Let's regroup. I open up my Airbnb app. I message the host being like, hey, what's going on? And see that their notifications were silenced because it had the moon do not disturb notification. And I'm like, all right, immediately I get in contact with Airbnb's like safety support line. One of our friends so graciously put us up in a hotel for the evening. Airbnb gave the full refund, tried helping rebooking, but it's a convention with 71,000 people. So rebooking was a little bit challenging, but we were able to make it work. And then the girl B&B the rest of the week was perfect. It was exactly what we needed.
Do you think there was just like a weird communication issue, or do you think that the host of the Airbnb spot literally just locked you guys out and rebooked it?
Was there maliciousness going on?
That's what, I don't know. Because everything on the face value seemed like it was going to go off without a hitch. The host was somewhat responsive, leading up to the trip, and they were like, I'm going to give you the access codes at 3:55, and that's exactly when I received the access codes. But then when we went up to the Airbnb, the lights were on inside the house, and there were signs of life inside. So I don't know if it got double booked and the other booking just got there before us or what. But Dwayne had some pretty good advice, and I've chalked it up to kind of a lesson learned of whenever it's kind of a convention weekend for a city like that, get with the super hosts, the just super certified of whatever rental app you're doing. The super hosts are going to be the most reliable option, because when searching around the city for another option, there's just so many that just look like scams. It's okay, this person just started hosting in 2024 and has 0 reviews. I don't know about this one. And I even messaged to inquire. I was like, hey, is this available? And the person was like, no, unfortunately, even though the dates were available in the app. But I have some hotels I can hook you up with. Ooh. And I'm like, there's a scam in here somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Emily, have you seen the movie Barbarian?
I have not.
I'll always remember this as the GenCon where our friends were almost barbarian.
Yes.
I would like to tell you my perspective on that, because I was in bed by the time all of your fun shenanigans were going on. I wake up in the morning and I am super excited for day one of GenCon. So I get in our chat message and I don't even read anything.
I just had fallen asleep 3 hours earlier.
I just wake up and I immediately post the "Do you want to play? I want to play a game" GIF. And I do all my stuff and I jump on the bus, and then I start looking back through messages and I'm like, oh no. Oh no, they are sleeping at a murder inn. I feel
the
really
hotel was not great either.
bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we woke up and Emily, my wife Emily, had a message saying, hey, are y'all still awake? And we had long fallen asleep. And we're like, somehow this could have been avoided. It all happened so late.
Yeah.
So late. So that's the other lesson learned. It was do not just wing it.
Check in early.
Check in during daylight hours, which is like normally like as a woman I would have followed those rules, but I was like, we're fine.
And I assume you had no issues with the hotel block, so that was good, James. What was the controversy over Gate 10?
So Gate 10 is a company that handles parking in the Indianapolis area. And it's one of those companies that they have multiple parking lots, just open, exposed parking lots around downtown. And you buy tickets ahead of time to reserve your parking space available for, in this case, like the entirety weekend of GenCon. Well, somehow they decided that GenCon weekend was the perfect weekend to sell their lots off to another company. And I should say the sale probably happened previously, but they made this weekend the weekend where they made the handoff.
Oh yeah, I was about to say it. It went into effect
permanently. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
like
lots are
the
there,
Wednesday.
just not controlled
There's
by.
no ownership. It's all in transition.
No.
Right? Yeah, no. I mean, somebody owned the lots, but not Gate 10 anymore. So they were still parking lots. They just weren't Gate 10 parking lots. So Gate 10 acquired parking in other areas that was changing daily. So they had to keep sending emails and messages out to the folks that have purchased tickets from them to tell them on this day, here's the address of where your parking lot is. On this day, here's the new address of where the parking lot is.
Oh my gosh.
And I think they even acquired some help. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't by a parking lot. It was by some business to get like the college or something. I don't know what it was, but daily changes of where you were supposed to park if you'd purchased a ticket. Whereas previously, you bought a ticket for a parking spot in a lot where you could just leave your car.
And were these random lots like remotely close to the site?
Yeah, I mean, they were around downtown-ish. Yeah, they're meant to be that kind of downtown parking.
But the real kicker is that the original lot was also honoring the tickets.
Were they?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
That's where a few of us ended up parking.
Yeah, so that's what there was a girl in our house that had a Gate 10 pass, and so we still parked there, like at the original location. Like all of these other emails just became like just
moot,
irrelevant,
confusion,
yeah,
just general confusion over parking.
Oh man,
yeah, couldn't believe it. Like I mean, sell your lots off, I get it, but the weekend you decide to make that handoff is GenCon, because the emails for that did not go out until like the
it was like
day before,
2
days before. It wasn't like, hey, this has happened, be prepared for this. It was like 2 days before GenCon, boom, here's what's going on. I'm like, you couldn't put it off one weekend.
Well,
the next weekend was the marching band competition.
Oh my!
So it was like
that
August
doesn't compare to GenCon.
There's probably a lot of misinformation going on out there, but one thing I heard was that the sale was not by choice. It was yeah.
All right.
So
2023 GenCon, Lorcana was the game of the show. It was definitely the dominant piece of publicity.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
What were this year's big games?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say Lorcana stood out in that sense. There was plenty of Lorcana going on, tournaments and things like that. Many of our friends were part of it, but it wasn't like this overtaking force.
Well, but did any other game kind of take that title of being the game of the show?
Let's start here.
No.
A Lorcana event only comes around once every few years, like something of that magnitude.
That's a good point.
There was nothing on that I saw. There was nothing on that level, and there probably won't be. It will probably be years before we see that again.
I think like the closest thing was like the 50th D&D anniversary.
That was pretty big, but that was also something that was
like you're saying, like it wasn't like a line for something.
Well, and because that was not one product being released, it was many people were doing celebrations of that. You could go to booths and buy little D&D 50 trinkets. Some places had die for sale. I think the big thing was the early release of the new player's handbook.
I saw that you got that.
And fortunately, I had a friend who went through this process, but apparently to get that the right way, what you had to do is wake up around 7 a.m., go to the GenCon events page, put it on your wish list, and then like at 7 exactly, like press the button to check out, pay for it, and then you took your ticket to the arena, I want to say, and picked up the player's handbook.
That's correct. And right next to that spot, because I went and one of our friends actually got that, and he needed someone else to go help him. So I went and helped him get the book. And right next to that was also USPS, United States Postal Service.
So you got about 4 sheets.
I got the new sheet set of the
nice.
stamps.
I forgot they had
Hell
those
yeah.
stamps.
And I got this.
like
I got
it.
the sheets, and I got a matted set. And the art director for USPS was there signing them.
Oh, wow.
I was able to get
That's
a
amazing.
pre-matted set of the 50th D&D stamps, which is pretty cool. And my wife's a stamp collector, so that was kind of a
nice.
surprise for her. Which is
So I
fun.
think that would be like the closest thing, but it didn't like wreak havoc like Lorcana did. Like Dwayne said, it was just more spread out. But I felt like that was like a big thing on everyone's mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now there were a number of games that drew lines every single morning.
That's what I was going to ask next.
Yep.
Next, like who are the winners and losers in retail row?
So in retail row and the big hot games of every single morning, and I guess I'll start with this. So if you have ever seen videos of GenCon or pictures, there's a thing called the running of the nerds,
Oh, my word.
and that is before the hall doors open. The space outside of the hall doors, which is a very large, long hallway, fills up with people. And the moment those exhibit hall doors open, it is just
Guesstimated number of people. 500.
no, way
Thousands.
more, thousands. Yeah,
It was-
in the hall.
Do you work
Yeah.
for McKay's, sir?
Yeah, I'd say maybe a couple of thousand that have ventured out to smush into that whole area.
Our friend Mary worked at Keymaster Games, and so they had a 9 a.m. meeting just to like get everyone kind of trained up on what they were going to do the rest of the week. And so she's in there the hour before the running of the nerds actually happens. And when the meeting's over, she's trying to leave the vendor hall. She can't leave for like 30 minutes because people are still coming into the exhibit hall.
It would have
Yeah,
been
and
fun
I
to be
was-
on that side of things, to see the people coming in like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
not as crazy as you might think it is. No one's running. This isn't Black Friday.
It's not like trampling.
It's not
but
trampling. It's just a lot of people.
congestion.
well-
Speed walking.
Yeah, there are people who
So-
have their eyes set, because there are some things that are in limited number every day. So there are
Yep.
people who are like trying to get to be one of the first 50, 100, 200 to be at a booth. So there are some you need to watch what's going on during that time.
Yeah. So to your question, JK, I was there every morning because I had a number of games that I knew were going to sell out each day. So I got a pretty good, finger on the pulse of what a lot of the hot games were that were selling out each day, because these publishers, they have a limited amount, but they don't sell them all the first day. They sell them in batches.
If they brought 600 copies, they'll put out 200 on the floor each day.
Exactly. So the super hot games that I saw every single day, I would say the hottest were 2 games, Rock Hard 1977 from DeVere and Slay the Spire Deluxe. I mean, lines immediately, sold out within 20 minutes of the doors open.
Wow.
Yeah, every single day. Cities, also from DeVere, was selling out. The Clank Catacombs expansion, Layers and Lost Chambers, was
That's
selling
sold
out each day. I got a copy of that, thankfully. A couple of us in the group did. I've already gotten a chance to play it, actually, and it's
Oh, good.
it's really good.
Nice.
It adds a lot of fun stuff to it. Comic Hunters was selling out each day.
Yeah.
Dwayne and I and Ryan got to demo that,
Yeah.
which is pretty neat.
I cannot believe they got the licensing rights from Marvel to do all those covers on those cards.
It's great.
It's great.
It is so pretty to see all those covers from different eras of comic books
Yeah.
from Marvel. That was a real treat just to play that game.
Well, and some folks are... Oh, go ahead.
Dwayne was telling me about it, and he's like going back and forth whether or not he wanted to try to get it. He's like, is it the nostalgia or do I actually like the game?
Why not both?
Yeah, I'm undecided on the game. The demo, I need to play. The demo was a third of the game, so I need to play the rest of it. But a lot of people are saying buy it just because who knows how long that license will last.
Yeah, that is
Right.
a good
Yeah.
point.
Another hot game was Windmill Valley was selling out. That's from Board and Dice. That's the next
that's
game
true.
from
Yeah.
Garcia,
And I
Danny
think-
Garcia.
I think Windmill Valley was a game that we had mentioned on our episode about what games we were anticipating this year, too. That was another fun thing of like just seeing,
How it shook out.
Yeah.
yeah,
So, but those were the big ones that had lines every day that immediately sold out. Oh, and of course, Marvel United.
Yeah, I sent you guys on the Witching Hour
Witching Hour.
expansion.
Yeah, same booth as Comic Hunters.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it sold out every single day.
And they had a weird convoluted way that you could buy it. Like you couldn't just walk up and buy it.
Yeah.
No, you could. That's what was so confusing. You could walk up and buy it there, but CMON was partnered with Asmodee and doing raffle draws for other stuff elsewhere, and there was mixed communication about thinking that the expansion was through the raffle, but it was not. They were actually just selling it.
Okay.
The only United, whatever we're going to call the whole United Universe thing. The only United stuff that CMON that Asmodee was giving away was the gold Superman and Batman figures.
Okay.
Unfortunately, JK, we were there, and that did not pan out for us either.
I thought you were going to say, and we have a surprise for you.
That would have been amazing. But the other thing, James, that is something that's popular in my family that I stood in line for was Secret Lair, which I don't even understand how it all works, but Secret Lair does these drops, which is you get a little packet of Magic cards. They're usually real. They do a lot of IP. So they've done Monty Python, Evil Dead, Doctor Who in the past. There was a Secret Lair drop that was exclusive to GenCon. They had a limited number every day. I want to say 150, 200. So that was the one line I stood in one morning, was because I had to get Reese some special Dragon Con or some special GenCon Secret Lair Magic cards.
Nice.
Yeah, but there were plenty of other hot games. They just didn't have lines. But like I thought the Aquatica expansion would sell out. I thought Foundations of Metropolis would sell out. But some other companies were just bedright bringing in a lot of stock. So,
any vendors you saw that you were just like, man, they missed the boat. They just really didn't bring it this year.
No, not that I can think of. I mean, everyone there, Gen Con is the con of releases.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everyone kind of had their own new hotness to sell.
This might be like more of just like a personal experience, but like I went by the Upper Deck booth hoping for some Gen Con like exclusive, but I wanted it to be like Marvel exclusive. They had like some other things that I like wasn't interested in,
like Neopets.
Yeah. That's true. I forgot that's the same company.
Upper Deck is legendary.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had an incredibly frustrating conversation with an Upper Deck employee about they had a huge advertisement, Marvel Legendary 2nd edition. So I had questions. and the nice lady I spoke with had no answers for me. I'm like, why are you even advertising this game if you have nothing to talk about? So that was fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was just like a personal, that's nothing against Upper Deck.
No, we love Upper Deck on this show. I just need more information about
and
Legendary
I just want
2nd edition.
more expansions that are for Marvel specifically.
How about ticketed events? What did you guys do? What did you guys go see that was fun?
I
did some dancing.
Yeah, go ahead, James, because mine was more in the just gaming area, and I think you probably had a different experience.
Yeah, so I ended up skipping a couple of I had some gaming demos set up, but then our group just ended up doing fun things. So I skipped a couple of my events for the fun things, but I did learn a Newsies dance number. So
nice.
I'm very
That's
happy
a lot
about
of fun.
That's what I signed up for some seminars this year, and unfortunately with the Airbnb snafu, making those 10 a.m. events were a little bit challenging. But one of them sent out the slides afterwards, so I felt like I still got the content from it. It was all about kind of making your board game nights accessible and inclusive, and since Gleeful Meeple hosts board game events all throughout Nashville for a variety of gamers, I thought it would be like a nice refresher of like, okay, what are our blind spots? What could we improve on? And looking through the slides, it's kind of nice being like, okay, yeah, we do try to recommend people for games we think that they would fit well in. And like I have a friend who has some like vision impairment issues, and so that's been kind of more on my mind as I play games of like, oh, is this like font too small?
Yes, I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and so that was an exciting seminar. Dwayne signed me up for a seminar, the best games you've never heard of, and I was so excited. I was like, all right, let's get into some obscure board games. It was all about video games.
Look, when you're at Gen Con and you call your event the best games you've never heard of, You're talking about board
Board
games. You
games.
should be talking about board
100%,
games.
yes.
You need to specify
Like,
video
that's the default
games.
games.
Or
Yeah.
digital games,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, give us something to let
Electronic
us know.
games.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, not thrilled with that. Sorry, Emily.
It was an interesting seminar and made me question whether or not I wanted to buy a Steam Deck.
Well, the important thing is it raised some questions for you.
It did. It made me think about things. But other than that, I had a game demo that I really enjoyed.
Speaking of false pretenses, being brought in on something with thinking it was one thing and that was something else. Just a quick story on another event. So one of the events I did was a launch party for Board and Dice's new game, Reef Project. And I've been looking forward to this game. I watched playthroughs ahead of time. I pre-ordered it and picked it up at GenCon. And this launch party was more than just a demo of the game. It was also a story, history of the game. So there was a presentation. I go in. There's a presentation about what the prototype looked like versus what it looks now, right? How it all came to be. Stuff that I was interested in, along with getting to play the game. But it started off with about 30 minutes of presentation. Well, I asked one of our friends.
It's kind of like buying a timeshare.
Yeah, kind of. I asked Ryan. Hey, Ryan, come. It's an open event. Just come. Come to the table. I want someone I know to play the game with me. He's like, okay, yes, I'll play a game. He sits down, and we're not immediately playing games. And he's like, "What is this?"
I signed you up for a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah,
Isn't that fun?
Pretty much.
Whoops.
And it was Board and Dice representatives from Poland, I think is where they're from. So I mean, they spoke good English, but it was still, you had to concentrate. So he was like, "Is it too late to leave?" And I was like, "No."
Yes, you are stuck
But
here
he
forever.
did end up a whole story. I won't go into it, but he did end up finding an out. He's like, "Yeah, I'm taking this out. I'll see you later, man."
What a trooper.
So events. I love signing up for events at Gen Con, at any game con.
and then not going to any of
It's
them.
a different hobby.
Well, here, this is funny because I am usually, my friend group is usually really good at pulling me away from events because it's like, I can go play this game that I own, but I never get to play, or I can hang out with my friends. And usually I will choose the latter. But I might have an unlocked achievement where I went to every single event I bought a ticket for at this
Wow.
Gen Con.
What?
Yeah, no one is more shocked than I am.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Quick run through. Ryan and I went and played a new Arkham Horse card game scenario, the Winter Gala. We played it in a mode that you can only do with big groups because basically while we had our own set of 4 investigators, every set of 4 investigators at our table was investigating the same gala, which meant if this team achieved a goal at the gala before we did, that goal was taken off of our list of things we could do.
Oh.
So that was really cool. Also, we got a few promo cards, which I always love for my Arkham horror decks. So that was very nice. Got to play the Thing game. There's several board games based on the Thing. This is just the Thing. It was very nice little social deduction game. I got to do 2 True Dungeon experiences this year. True Dungeon is a interactive walkthrough role-playing experience. The way it's set up, you have a number of rooms you go through. Usually you'll have a puzzle room and then you'll have a combat room. Combat is all done with shuffle pucks. So like if you're fighting a siren, you will have a shuffle puck table that has a siren target at one end with numbers as far as how your hit is doing. So like, headshots and heart shots, usually higher numbers than legs and arms. Emily, James, a lot of our crew did a sampler, like a smaller learn to play
Like
adventure
True Dungeon
together.
Light.
And that was a lot of fun.
Is it kind of like an escape room meets Dungeons and Dragons?
That's
That
how
is
I-
exactly
that's how
what
I
it feels
described
like.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was, like the combat room, like Dwayne said, is just shuffle puck. But then, like, it was like other rooms, it just felt like an escape room puzzle.
Yeah, but they also have actors like
That
doing
was
this
cool.
whole thing.
Yes,
Like you have
which is-
usually
that's
have
really
a
fun.
coach or a DM in the room who's doing all the battle calculations, but you also have like actors acting out the role of the monsters at the same time, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, so while it is shuffle puck, right, you're inside this room that is very well built. It's like picture an escape room thematically, and it's decorated, all kind of stuff. And then
Very immersive.
this person pops up from over the wall, 10 feet above you, and leans over and screeches at you, and so they act out the enemy that you're fighting, and it was really cool. Or someone pops out from a curtain and runs around you like a flying ghost or something, and it was very impressive.
Okay. I have one more question. So before I ask that question, is there anything else you guys wanted to chime in on your own?
I'll do a quick thing. One thing that stood out to me this year with GenCon, like getting really into the convention aspect of it last year felt like a trial run for me. I just kind of went where my friends directed me. This year, I like took more charge of my own schedule. And one thing that I kind of like hobbled into were the scavenger hunts of GenCon. One really unique one I found this year was Catan was doing kind of like a badge trading thing. And so you would have to get like a starter supply of the materials. And so I started with like a starter deck of, it's badges of wood. And then I would have to trade with other people to get a brick badge, a stone badge, or it's been so long since I played Catan.
Could you trade wood for wood?
Yes.
You could if you wanted to, but that doesn't really help you achieve your goals.
And so when you turned in the resources, or when you showed them that you had completed all the quest, they gave you the robber badge at their booth. And so that was just clever. It got some interaction. Like, I turn into a people person when I'm at this convention. Very, like, interesting change. Like, I feel in my body. I'm, like, just talking to people. And so that was one. Doomlings had a QR code scavenger hunt where they had QR codes on the floor just around the ICC, Indiana Convention Center. And that like linked people back to their booth, where it's like if they completed it, they would get to spin the wheel at the booth or like a discount or something. So it's just like I think creative, clever way to interact with the convention.
Okay.
I have one other thing to shout out. So I watch a lot of other content creators on YouTube and listen to podcasts.
That's our peers, man.
I know.
We got to support the rest of the community.
So in order to do that, Man vs. Meeple hosted an event out there for their Discord community. And man, it was, just want to give them a shout out. It was awesome. It was basically this huge pizza party where you just, with an open bar and just playing games, awesome giveaways. I mean, the giveaway table was just incredible, the games that they had to give away. And just the who's who of YouTubers and podcasters and people in the industry just hanging out, playing games, eating pizza. It was awesome. You know, like one of the my missed highlights of GenCon is getting to demo a new game called Minos. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Dawn of the Bronze Age. The designer Stan Kordonsky did Endless Winter, Lock Up, a number of other games recently. He was there at the party just hanging out, and so I got to talk with him for a little bit. So I got missed the demo, but got to chat with Stan just about game design and how he approaches doing what he does. And it was just shout out to Man vs. Meeple, David, Ryan, Emily, and really David's wife Elisha was kind of the orchestrator of that entire event. So I don't want to leave her out. It was awesome.
I know you guys did some good grassroots marketing for our podcast as well, which no spoilers yet, but that may pay some dividends in future episodes. We'll have to see what happens.
We can only be so lucky.
Yay.
Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't shout out Sun King Brewing, because they have, every year they bring a GenCon beer, and this year it was the Roll for Initiative, which was
Cinnamon Roll for Initiative.
Cinnamon Roll for Initiative. It was a Cinnamon Toast Crunch inspired beer, and early reports were not so great on it, but I had to try it for myself, and I loved it. It was my favorite of their offerings this year.
It was good. I'm not a cinnamon person, but it was good.
Okay. And then final question, following the goings on in the channel as you guys were going through your week at GenCon, I was left with one thing that just perplexed me that I figured I had to wait until you guys got together again so I could ask this. What is the difference between a city block and a European city block?
Okay, so I was going to say one last thing, which is wear comfy shoes, because there's a lot of walking.
Oh my goodness!
And this kind of plays into that conversation.
A European block is just someone who doesn't know what a block is.
I would disagree. So as you mentioned earlier, JK, Emily and I were the beneficiaries of doing well in the hotel lottery. We actually managed to get a hotel downtown within walking distance, everybody.
I agree.
Of
It is
GenCon.
within walking distance.
Within a few number of blocks, less than you can count on one hand walking distance, everybody.
So far, I will agree with everything James has said.
We'll have to consult the map on that one.
This is, oh man, talk about double whammies. Oh. So we found ourselves as a group at one point, a few of us, with some extra time on our hands, looking to enjoy our day in the middle of the day. And we invited everybody to come back to our hotel, which had a fantastic rooftop bar, great place to hang out, maybe even play a light game or something, and just kill some time, enjoy some drinks. So yeah, it's just a few blocks away, we tell our friends.
I don't think you said few. I
think
think there was a number.
There was a
attached
number
to it.
given.
I mean, if I gave a number, I would have said it's 3 or 4 blocks away.
I don't think you gave the number.
Oh, well, I would have said 3 or 4 blocks away, which I think still
Okay, that
probably
was the number I heard.
still does not fall into what you guys are probably thinking blocks are. But when I pull up Google and I look at intersections, it's 3 or 4 blocks of intersections. I swear, if you pull up Google and look at it, between GenCon, between the convention center and our hotel, and you count actual squares of intersections, it is 3 to 4. It might not feel like 3 or 4 when you're walking it.
Not midday after walking all over the
It's
ICC.
very
yeah,
hot.
Yeah.
How long do you think it would take to walk 3 blocks in minutes?
Are we talking U.S. blocks or European blocks?
Like, what you think a block
what
is?
I think a block would okay. So if I equate this to downtown Nashville Broadway, I'm walking from
Yes, which is everyone's frame
Yes.
of reference.
I'm
here.
walking from 1st to 4th.
Yes.
Okay, so far so good.
I'm there in less than 10 minutes.
Okay. The walking to their hotel was like 20 minutes.
It was not 20 minutes. It was like 15. It just felt like 20 because the sun was beating down on you.
It was pretty hot.
It was very hot.
But we couldn't let that go without some good nature ribbing, and
Well-
somehow the phrase European blocks started getting thrown around, and we took that and ran with it. That was
kinda
our
like
running gag for the
standard
con.
versus metric kind of a conversation.
Nice.
But it
Yeah.
gets better, JK. Oh, it gets better. So we walk all the way there, and it took about 15 minutes, but it was hot.
Oh, I have a question for JK.
I did Google walk it, and it said 15 minutes.
You know what would be wonderful if you are walking 4 blocks in the hot Indiana sun to go to a bar? Wouldn't a nice, cold, refreshing beer be fantastic?
When you get there,
Uh-huh.
wouldn't that be amazing?
Uh-huh.
We get there, bar's closed.
Oh.
Doesn't even open until later. I can't remember when it was.
I was too hot to be mad.
Yeah. But
Oh, that wouldn't have stopped me.
walking backwards 1 block, we ended up finding a great spot where
You know what?
we enjoyed. It all came to a very well-meaning end.
Yeah, the where we ended up, the food was good. They had all kinds of fun drink specials. I think I had the Charizard margarita. There was a great Old One beverage.
Oh, they knew the crowd they were playing
Yeah,
to.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one cool thing about Indiana. Indy is it feels like everyone is in on Gen Con. Like the restaurants, the hotels,
Yeah,
the
the whole
Marriott was
downtown.
giving D&D dice to their guests. So yeah, everyone is. It feels like everyone is in on it.
Didn't the check-in people at one of the hotels have like a +1 charisma shirt on or something like that?
They usually do fun things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I know the Hyatt's good about having fun with their employees.
One hotel was giving away dice.
Yeah, that was the Marriott.
Is that yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad you guys have fun. I will do everything in my power to make it next
We'll
year.
see you next year, JK.
Yes.
All right, everyone. This episode's game of the show is Potion Explosion. Potion Explosion is published by Horrible Guild Games. The designers are Stefano Castelli, Andrea Crespi, and Lorenzo Silva. The artwork was done by Giulia Gagini, and it was released in 2015. It plays 2 to 4 players, but it's at its most gleeful at 3 players. JK, walk us through Potion Explosion.
So in Potion Explosion, you play a potion brewer who is collecting ingredients from a well-crafted little system that randomizes and organizes these marbles for you. The marbles represent the different types of ingredients that go into the potion. I believe there's 4 different marbles. Is that correct?
Yeah, let's run with that.
I believe there's 4. I think that we're looking at each other. We're nodding. When you select a marble from this system on your turn, you are allowed to take 1 marble of any type of color. When you take that marble, the marbles that surround it on either its upper or lower sides will then clack together. If those 2 marbles match in color, you get to take them, as well as any other matching colors that are extended on past those. And once those are off the board, if more marbles clack together that are the same colors, you get those as well. You're then going to take that whole assemblage of marbles and put it on your workbench. You have limited spaces, though, and each potion requires a different type of ingredient. If you can complete the potion, that's going to give you some special powers on future turns, as well as endgame points. You've got a few spaces for leftover marbles, but you don't really want to overload that with too much coming into your possession at any given time. You're going to keep playing until all of the bonus tokens that are in the game have been worn out. This is done by either making 5 different types of potions or 3 of the same type of potion. As soon as one player claims the last bonus token, we finish out that round, tally up the points, and see who is the best potion brewer. That's Potion Explosion. Glug, glug, glug. Bang.
Okay, so I've been playing Potion Explosion for a few years. It's one of my wife's favorite games. We played a ton of it during COVID on Board Game Arena. And the first time I played it, I instantly said, this is an iPhone app. Somebody played
Absolutely.
Candy Crush
Yeah.
or Bejeweled and was like, there's a board game here. And boy, howdy is there. I think this game is just delightful. It plays super easy. You can explain it in no time. Probably the biggest point of clarification comes with all the different potions and how they interact with each other. But I thoroughly enjoyed this game, and I'm really glad we had the chance to play it together.
When you play Potion Explosion, are all of the potions in the game, or is it a selection of 5 of the 6 available?
It is 8. There are 8 total potions in the game. You select 6 for each game.
Okay.
So there are, and one of my favorites, there is one potion. I played this several times recently, so I might be misremembering our game. I don't think we had the potion that lets you use your spare ingredients as anything.
Yeah.
It's the potion of prismatic joy.
Yes.
That one tends to shorten the game a little bit. And when I see it missing, I'm like, oh man, I love that one so much. But yeah, so every game's a little different in that regard based on which potions are in the game.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other potion we didn't use was the one that allows you to take marbles from other players.
Yeah, true. Blind love.
Yeah. So
Yes.
if that's in the game, there's a bit more. I wouldn't call it take that, but there is more player interaction with you stealing marbles from other players. Outside of that, it's not to take thatty at all.
No.
There is the one that lets you like discard marbles from the tray, which
Flaming
is really
Lovecraft.
only to me, it's only ever played. I guess you could play it to put together a potion explosion, but mostly I'm like, oh, JK needs a lot of blacks. I'm gonna scoop those up with this potion. But yeah,
I think this was the first time I had ever played it at 4 players.
okay,
And did you say it's best at 3 according to BGG?
yes,
I think I've played the bulk of my plays at this with 2.
okay,
And found it pretty solid.
it is solid at 2.
It seemed a little chaotic at 4, just a hair.
Yeah, I guess maybe it says it's best at 3 because there's a less
Downtime,
changing,
probably.
less downtime and less changing of the marbles.
Yeah, at 4 players, you are not going to even be able to
can't
start
plan.
to predict your
No.
next
Yeah.
move.
No.
Yeah, that's what I think I had a hard time with our last play. And I would love to just chalk it up to we were using a new audio interface. I'm trying to get our episode downloaded onto our drive. But yeah, I was definitely distracted in our last play. But yeah, like at 4, I just felt it hard to predict because every time it was my turn, I'm like, oh, this looks drastically different from the last time I looked at this board.
The other thing for me, I was a purchaser of this game way back and have a nice little cardboard setup for the marble sorting machine. Dwayne, you had a much nicer plastic one, which was really, really sharp.
Yeah, I got in on that second edition, and I really do. I've played with both. The plastic one, it's going to stand the test of time much better than the cardboard one.
One of the frustrations I had while we were playing is that while when you complete a potion and you take all those ingredients off, you put them back in the top of the marble distribution system, and it's supposed to sort of put them back in a random order. I was doing everything I could manage to get those things to fall in randomly, and it just was not happening.
Yeah.
I had to keep kind of pushing them around and maneuvering them to the right spot.
That's what I like about playing it digitally.
Can you not, in the digital version, can you not see quite so well what's coming down the path?
No,
You actually
still
can.
can.
Yeah.
Okay.
On BGA, that's what we're referencing.
Right.
But yeah, you still can see kind of like in that one marble through the peephole.
Right.
Yeah, but this game, in my mind, is an example of a game that achieves exactly what it is setting out to do.
Yeah.
No more, no less. I mean, it delivers on its promises.
I don't think any of the potions individually are extremely overpowered or underpowered. I think where it really comes into play, and Dwayne, you did this really well in our game, was combining those potions in the same turn.
Yep.
And I think I was going heavy on the Sands of Time, which basically just lets you reuse a potion that you've already used.
Yeah.
So if there is one that's overpowered, it might be that, just because it is giving you the ability to do any of your potions that you've used again. So a lot of variety.
Though since our play, I have been playing this on BGA because I was like, I don't think I'm getting this game. And I played with friend of the show, Mary, that worked at that Keymaster Games booth. She loves this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like watched her bench, and I'm like, she is getting rid of both potions nearly every
time.
single turn. And I'm like, oh. And like, I had played a 2-player game against some rando, and I was looking at our stats at the end of the game, and all of our stats are nearly identical. The difference was the other player was going for the more points heavy potions, where I was not, because like I was trying to finish them every round, but once I started going for like 10s and 11s to try to like stay competitive in future games, that's when I started to click of like, oh, this is how people are playing it.
Is there enough of a correlation? Are the heavy points potions the weaker potions?
No,
or is it kind of just a mix?
No, they're
usually
distributed.
Okay.
It's usually like the composition of the potion. So it's like it might need 4 of one color and 3 of another color, whereas like the 4 or 5 point potions might need 2, 1, 1.
So all of the potions might have a 10 pointer, a 9 pointer.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Right.
And what's interesting, the way I play this game, I typically don't worry about the points so much. Sometimes I do if I'm sitting on, if I've banked a lot of one color, I might think about that next potion. I've got 3 of the 5 colored marbles I need. I might as well go ahead and take a higher point one. But mostly I'm going to make those combos to get the rewards. And the best way to do that is to go for those smaller point potions, get them in, get them built, and get them on out. So you can start.
Yeah, that's been my experience as well. To your point, Emily, my wife, Emily, likes this game a lot. We own it. And when we do play it, I had the same experience as you, as watching somebody else play this, like, oh, that's how you play this. She would just empty. I think you mentioned during the rules teach, JK, that you have spots for 2 potions and only 2 potions until you finish one of them. Cycling those out as quickly as possible. And like, if you can do both of them every single turn is how you do this. And I watched her do that. I'm like, oh, I get it now.
That's how you get into games at like the 40 and 50 point range instead of like 20.
So I agree, Dwayne. I think the strategy is more, don't go for the high point ones specifically, go for the low point ones and just get that potion. I don't know if you call it an engine, but just get, go through potions as fast as you can, because you get those powers, which lets you keep doing that. And you make up in the lesser points value of the potions by the quantity, and then also by those end game scoring objectives of sets of 3 and sets of all different colors. You do that by getting through more potions. So that's the game.
I kept finding that you guys were leaving me, when it came around to my turn, you were leaving me some very high point potions in the available ones to choose from. So that's where I was leaning. I also kind of ignored, there's a rule you can take, there's a rule you can use called getting some help. And it allows you to take a marble off the board just by itself. You don't get the result of anything that clacks together, but you do so at a penalty of 2 points?
2 points.
2 points. I never did that through the whole game. And I saw you guys doing it rather aggressively. And I went, well, I'm just going to let them bury themselves in a hole for points. And I'll keep going after these high point potions. And let's see how that turns out when we end the game.
There are games where the negative points are there to encourage you not to do something. I think Potion Explosion is one of those where it's kind of a false flag. Like, That is how you set up your combo for better potion explosions, because there is nothing more satisfying in this game than you pull a marble, explosion, 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 and you've taken 10 marbles. Sure, I can only use 6 of them, but I've gotten a big bulk of what I need, and I'm setting up turns for the future.
That's what I ended up leaning towards in my subsequent plays. Just as many explosions as I could, even if they didn't go towards finishing, like the priority would be finishing the potions, but then I would just try to just rack up as many marbles as I could just to make it as random as possible for the next person.
Now, Dwayne, have you played or do you own any of the expansions?
I've neither played nor own any of the expansions.
That was going to be one of my questions for this show: is do they exist, and is it just more potions?
It's more potions. Okay. I've not played. One of them is Ghost something.
Yes,
I think
kind of a wild-ish thing, I think, is what it does. I have read about it a little bit. But.
It's a popular one of all the expansions, but there are others that I've not played them. But if you enjoy Potion Explosion, and I'm surprised you haven't gotten into them, Dwayne, I thought you owned them, I would look into it.
Well, and I know one of them is a 5th player and a 5th player expansion. I don't know that
student.
6th student?
Yeah, because there's the 5th ingredient.
Okay.
Potion Explosion, the 5th ingredient.
Yeah.
Potion Explosion, the 6th student.
I could not imagine playing this game with 6 players. As much as I like it, 6 players is going to be tragically slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might as well just walk away if you're the 6th person in that rotation, because the marble's going to be completely different.
The board state's totally different by the time it gets back to you.
Yeah.
I could be playing Potion Explosion on BGA in between turns if we play this player game. Guys, any final thoughts on Potion Explosion before we wrap this up?
Were there any negatives?
Yes.
Oh, Emily's got something to say.
Emily's going to throw some shade.
Do tell.
No, I think it was what you were saying earlier about I prefer playing it digitally because
to make it a little bit more random.
Yeah.
The marbles don't clack on the digital version.
Turn your sound on, Dwayne.
Yeah, the tactileness of playing this game is part of the fun of it. Kind of like I don't know that I'd want to play.
That is true. I do like
what's the other
the marbles
game? Gizmos.
Yeah,
I would not want to play Gizmos digitally just because it's that tactile. It's plastic marbles as well. It's just one of those games where I want to pick it up. I want to play with the fun things and negatives. I honestly I can't think of any. I think truly this game achieves exactly what it was meant to do. It's not bloated, not too little. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I'm hard pressed to find any negatives about this game. It is, of course, since it's a marble game, it's something that you do not want to drop, and that's about all I can say about it.
Nothing negative for me. It's cute, it's easy, it's fun. I think there's enough variability between the potions that you get that it makes it replayable pretty easily. That's
one thing before we go on to the rating. Like you said, it's so cute. Thematically, this game gets a lot of points in my book. Did you know the marbles have their own names?
Yes.
Yeah,
I did not know
I knew they were specific ingredients, but
because you have unicorn tears, dragon smoke, ogre mucus, and fairy dandruff are the marble colors that you're composing your potions with. And it's just one of those games where it's like just every little thing from like the little help, you're trying to become student of the year, get some help from the professor, like just the thematic element of this game.
Can y'all hear this game screaming that it's not Harry Potter? You are not at Hogwarts. You are not. Let's be clear. You're not at Hogwarts in this game. You are pretty much at Hogwarts in this game.
But yeah, so
let's take it around the table. JK, right. Let's start with you.
It's a keeper.
James.
Keep it at play for me, and worth mentioning also, it's pretty unique. There surprisingly are not many Bejeweled, Candy Crush-esque board games out there that are, I mean, there might be mass market things that I just don't know about, but like games, there are surprisingly not that many. This really stands out as being a gem. So keep it at play for me.
This might come as a shock, but I'm actually going to trade it away.
What?
I know. It's really cute. I really appreciate Potion Explosion for what it is. It is just not my favorite. I've been playing it to try to understand it, but I don't think it's going to be in my rotation for much longer.
Well, I love the theme. I love the clickety-clack of the marbles, so I've got to keep this one.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4 for Potion Explosion.
I think that's our first 3.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You might be right.
We're usually a little more
we've had a good streak
symmetrical.
of being very as one mind.
So, Okay, so I think it's very obvious by now that I did not win this game. Jog my memory. What happened? How did the rankings?
So I will say this. I set this up as part of a clever plan because what I really wanted for our last game of the show to be was Grand Austria Hotel, but we were running a little long. So I was like, let me pick a game that I have all kinds of experience on so I can have a great chance of winning. And
you were a self-ringer on this game.
100%.
Okay.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen. So I did take first place on this game.
And with those get help tokens, JK.
Yeah.
And
my strategy did not pan out. Did I finish second? I think I did.
James?
I can't remember, to be honest,
I
actually.
was in fourth.
Yes.
You know, for
That's-
people who keep logs of their games,
Yeah,
we're doing
we're
a
pretty terrible.
really horrible
No, but
job.
that's the thing. It's you log in, so we don't have to think about it.
And we
anymore.
only have to really remember who was in first place, right?
Yeah. Dwayne was the winner.
So,
All right, Dwayne. So are we playing what we think we're playing?
we are playing what we think we're playing. Here on the table next to us, I have covered up. And the reveal is it is Grand Austria Hotel for the game of the show next episode. It's happening. It's happening. All right. If you, speaking of future games of the show, if there's a game that you'd like us to play or you have any comments, concerns, feedback, snide remarks, we'll take it all at Gleeful at pod. Let's try
What's
again.
happening?
That email is pod@gleefulmeeple.com.
So, I think we've talked enough about games that it's time to play a game on air. No, not a board game, a game about board games. This week, JK has brought us a game of his own.
I think you guys are going to be so mad at me by the end of the night.
Uh-oh.
This is gonna-
Joke's on you. I'm already mad at you.
This is going to be fun. So, the game I am bringing to you today, I have in my possession a handful of statements that I'm just going to read to you. At some point in the statement, there is a piece of inaccurate information, misleading, wrong, out of date, whatever the case may be. It's your job to correct me. Now, the way you're going to buzz in is simply by saying your name and then to tell me the phrase, well, to be truthful, and then give me the proper correction of what the statement is airing.
I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because my name has more syllables than my co-host.
You could just say M.
And is
There
this
you
like Jeopardy, where if we forget to say to be truthful, that our answer doesn't count?
So in the IP that I am very cleverly mocking without saying their name, yes, they do require that. Now I'll be a little. We'll play this loose and see what
I was about to
happens.
say, what do we need to say?
Well,
To be truthful.
to be truthful. All right, are you ready for statement number one?
Oh, we'll see.
Well, to be truthful, JK, I am.
I love this. We're off to a good start already. Richard Garfield changed the landscape of gaming when he created Magic the Gathering in 1993. Along with the massive success of that game, over the last 30 years, Garfield has also released a number of noteworthy games such as Robo Rally, King of Tokyo, Bunny Kingdom, Isle of Cats, and Keyforge.
To be truthful, he did not design Isle of Cats.
James is correct.
Wow. Well
Isle of
done.
Cats. Isle of Cats was created by Frank West. However, I should point out, Garfield is a cat.
Yeah, you're right.
Wait, Frank West, like the guy from the Dead Rising video games, created a game? That's amazing. Probably a different Frank West, maybe.
Yeah,
Probably,
you lost me on
possibly.
that one.
Okay.
You lost me on that one. All right, so 1 point for James. Keep track of your points. I don't have a scoring mechanism. Next statement. Distilled is a highly thematic strategy card game about crafting spirits in a distillery with resource management and push your luck elements. In the game, you start out as a moonshine crafter in the hills of Appalachia and are hoping to someday achieve the title of Master Distiller through purchasing goods, building up your distillery, and creating the world's most renowned spirits.
Ooh.
Actually, you're.
And we're getting sued right now.
Well, to be truthful, you're not in Appalachia?
That is correct.
Wow.
What? That's what I was
You
going to
do-
guess.
You do not start out
Where
as a
is it?
moonshine crafter. You inherit a distillery.
Wow, that was me trying for something. Hey,
job.
all right.
Well done.
Delightful.
Well done. 1 point for Dwayne. Game Night, a recurring video series featured on the Board Game Geek page, includes a rotating cast of players. Typically, hosts Lincoln and Nikki appear in every episode. You will occasionally also see Deborah Ann Wool, an actress who played Jessica Hamby in the HBO series The Vampire Diaries.
Well, to be truthful, it wasn't the Vampire Diaries, it was True Blood.
Nailed it right away. Good job, Dwayne. Yay.
I was hoping you're going to go Daredevil with that one or something.
Yeah, that was the next segment, but yeah. All right. In the base game of Seven Wonders, players must choose to represent one of these fabled locations and the associated ancient wonder. The Library of Alexandria, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Clay City of Petra.
Dwayne, to
Emily.
be truthful, it's not the Clay City of Petra.
That is correct,
Yeah.
Dwayne. Petra is included in an expansion, however, it does not appear in the base game.
No, I'm kidding. Good
Dwayne
point.
has a lead 3-1, I believe.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Polyhedral dice are seen everywhere in gaming. The most common die with 6 sides is known as a cube. A 4-sided...
James. Oh, well,
I think that math checks
to
out.
be truthful, it's known as a D6.
It's still a cube.
I know.
All right, James down for this one. A 4-sided die is known as a tetrahedron. A 10-sided die, depending on its shape, can either be a decahedron or a pentagonal trapezohedron. A 20-sided die is known as a duodecahedron. There is
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
There is even a 100-sided die known as a zokihedron.
Well, to be truthful, I don't think it's a zokihedron.
It actually is a zokihedron. Dwayne, can you pick up where I've made an
Well,
error?
to be truthful, I'm not so sure about the 4-sided die.
4-sided die is a tetrahedron.
Yeah, I knew that one was correct.
A 20-sided die is not known as a duodecahedron.
Are you
Is it
serious?
dodecahedron?
Oh, no.
I should have gone with my gut. I did a dodecahedron for an algebra class in middle school. I just second guessed myself.
Mrs. Hamby's so upset with you right now.
I
All
know.
right. Still 3-1, Dwayne?
No. Yes.
Still
yes.
3-1. Okay. In the Anniversary Edition, gameplay is the same as the original Puerto Rico game. The players are plantation owners in the days when ships had sails. By growing up to 5 different kinds of crops, corn, indigo, sugar, tobacco, and coffee, they try to run their businesses more efficiently than their close competitors. Growing crops and storing them, developing San Pedro with useful buildings, deploying their
Well, to be
Well,
truthful,
Names.
Dwayne, well,
Emily.
to be truthful, that's not the city. It's San Juan.
San Juan, not San Pedro.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Emily, I kind of stole that one from you.
I'm not surprised. All right, 4-1 Dwayne. The next one. Picking the right combination from the 14 different fantasy races and 20 unique special powers in Small World can lead to some interesting results. Powerful combinations such as the pillaging orcs will surely outlast the merchant hobbits. Can the flying ratmen rain death from the skies?
Dwayne, well, to
Dwayne.
be truthful, there aren't hobbits in the game.
They are halflings, not hobbits.
Oh, my gosh.
I like that. Dwayne's got the hang of this. This is great.
Yeah.
All right. JK's favorite game artist is Vincent Dutrait. This German artist who currently resides in South Korea creates elegant, often painted pieces. From his simple, understated work on Heat, Pedal to the Metal, to his luscious visuals on Atlantis Rising, Tribes of the Wind, Ultry, or the recently reprinted Quest for El Dorado, each work is a sight to behold.
Emily? Well, to be truthful, he doesn't live in South Korea.
He does live in South Korea.
James.
James,
To be truthful, he's not from Germany.
can you expand upon that?
To be truthful, he was not born in Germany. He's not a German resident.
What would be the more accurate statement?
He does not live in Germany.
Dwayne, do you want to throw
He
one
is
in
not.
here?
He is not
Well-
German. He is not German.
Yes.
Well, to be truthful, he's not JK's favorite board game
No,
artist.
that is correct.
No, that is true.
We'll give James the point here. What I was going for is that he is actually French, not German.
Oh, you wanted the
Yeah.
answer. Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. The last one. Is there a chance for a tie here, or does Dwayne
No.
have a commanding lead? All right. So, Dwayne, pad your score with this one here.
All right.
In Arc Nova,
jeez.
I already hate
Yes.
this very much.
Each player has a set of 5 action cards to manage their gameplay, and the power of an action is determined by the slot the card currently occupies. The cards in question are: Cards allows you to gain new zoo cards. Build allows you to build standard or special enclosures, kiosks, and pavilions. Animals allows you to accommodate animals in your zoo. Staff allows your workers to carry out different tasks.
Emily, there's no staff card.
There is no staff card. Can you tell me which one I've left out?
Sponsors
Sponsors, you interrupted me before I got to that one. So
and association.
association.
Well
is
done,
correct.
Emily.
Emily got the
Emily's on the board.
Yay.
I did it.
And that is it for our game of, well, to be truthful.
Thank you, JK. That was
Thanks,
so
JK.
fun.
Well, guys, we survived Gen Con,
We did.
came back to tell the tale.
With some sickness, but
Oh yeah, that's right. Emily
We
got
survived.
post-con COVID.
I did. It was a week.
70,000 people. There's going to be some crud going around.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot believe I rode in a car next to you for 5+ hours and did not get COVID. That is amazing. Just dumb luck.
I mean, it helps that I don't.
Breathe heavily? Sure.
Yeah. I was about to say, I don't remember sneezing or coughing. I didn't even talk that much on our way home because I was just so ready to be home.
We heard your voice a lot, but it was through the podcast that we were listening to on our way. There's nothing better than listening to the sound of your own voice.
To our own podcast.
1 year from
Gen
now,
Con.
JK, you'll join us.
I hope so. I gotta figure out a way to do this. Yeah. Are we done for the day, guys?
We are.
I think that's
we're
it.
done.
JK, we got any events coming up?
We do. Well, let's first thank our sponsor for the show. Our sponsor today is Airbnb. Airbnb belong anywhere. Know that when you travel, you can always count on Airbnb. Oh, hang on. They canceled. Okay, we don't have a sponsor for today's show. So if you want to email us, you can email us at pod@gleefulmeeple.com or follow us on Instagram at gleefulmeeplepod. September is coming up, and we are going to have a rockin' September in the Nashville area as Gleeful Meeple has 9 events already scheduled.
9?
Good night. Yeah, it's getting huge. We have so many events. We have a new venue. In fact, Game Point in East Nashville at 5 Points is now going to be a recurring event on the first Wednesday of every month.
Is that Nashville's own fantastic board game cafe?
It is.
Oh, man.
The one
I
and
love
only.
that place.
Yeah, as well as our normal slate of places that we're going to be. Come see us for sure.
It also goes by Bongo East, if you happen to be more familiar with that name. Game Point or Bongo East.
Yep. Technically, it's a private event. We actually did a test run with them last week, and they actually closed down the facility to anybody but Gleeful Meeple, but they made it really easy to sign up for Gleeful Meeple if you want to come in the door and join us. So come
Sweet.
see us.
Sounds great.
See you
All
next
right,
time,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye,
Thanks, y'all.
Gleeples.
Bye, everybody.